Hello everybody and welcome to Roll Together RPG and to our January 2025 update. I hope everybody has had a really good festive season and new year. We've got lots going on at the moment. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everybody who has shown their love and support to us throughout all of 2024. It's been very much appreciated. Thank you very, very much. And can't wait for you all to see what we have in store for 2025. With that in mind, we have some massive changes coming. So let's start off with Twitch. We had a great year on Twitch in 2024 and we are closing in on 6,400 followers. But when we come back on Monday the 13th of January, there will be a change to our schedule. On Mondays, we will now be streaming a rerun of the previous Monday's show at 11 AM UK time. And then we will still be doing our regular stream in the evening at 6 PM UK time. On the 13th, on Monday the 13th, when we come back, we will be doing a rerun of episode 8 of the Chronicles of Aeodrun Awakening series. And then episode 9 will be what we'll release that evening. On Tuesdays, we will be doing our 1 hour live stream or non-D&D content from 6 PM UK time. This does mean that we will no longer be doing reruns of our older shows, and it also means that we will no longer be doing streams on Wednesdays. So just Mondays and Tuesdays from now on. Speaking of Twitch and Mondays and Tuesdays and what we're doing, here is a little sneak peek as to what is coming. On Mondays, as I said earlier, Chronicles of Aeodrun will be returning with episode 9 and will continue to run bi-weekly with our adventures in Faerûn. Speaking of adventures in Faerûn, we can announce that we have 2 new shows coming. The first is Soul Survivors, which will be GM'd by Sean and will feature myself, Tom, Talia, Evie and Scarlet as the Neverwinter saga continues. However, expect some twists, turns, and even some guest appearances. Our second game is Nothing But Mist, which will be GM'd by Liz and will feature Talia, Evie, Nathan, and Astrid as a group of adventurers travel to the land of Barovia, which I think is the first time in the Roll Together universe that we've gone to Barovia. Maybe they will encounter a certain vampire lord. Anyway, and the last thing that we can reveal for Mondays, and this is an exciting one, is that we are going to be starting towards the middle of the year a brand new long-running campaign. For those of you that remember last year when the Kobolds had some tech issues and we did some of our live games, those live games introduced Vecna to the Roll Together universe. Now, recently in some of our festive shows and a few just before the new year that weren't Aeodrun, you may have noticed that there are some things that might be a little bit different around Faerûn. King of Neverwinter, anybody? But what we can announce is that the Path to Ascension series that we did live last year will be returning with a full campaign. This will be following our normal pre-recorded format, and we'll see a group of adventurers take on the multiversal threat that is Vecna himself. Expect to see some familiar faces and some familiar characters, as well as some guest appearances, but we are going to keep the cast under wraps for the moment. On Tuesdays, we will be doing our live talk-togethers, as I mentioned before, but we also have some non-D&D content coming as well. Back in the summer of 2024, we mentioned that we had a new game called Humility and Hope coming. Well, 2025 is the year that it will be released. This is a show that was produced by Lola and will feature Tom, Nat, Talia and Sean as a group of space explorers travel the stars. We also have Family Traditions, a Call of Cthulhu story that will see Talia step into the Lawkeeper seat. This will also feature Tom, Nat, Evie and Sean. Next, we have The Other Side of the Veil, which is a story using the Monster of the Week system. That will be GM'd by Ali and will feature Tom, myself, Talia and Liz. We also have our Lord of the Rings game. This game is titled Echoes in the Misty Mountains, and this game is GM'd by myself and will feature Tom, Talia and a returning Rebecca. So, very good game. It's so much fun to do, and I can't wait for you all to get to watch it. Finally, the last thing that we can announce for Tuesdays is Talking is a Free Action will be making a comeback. Yes! slightly different to how it used to run though. Instead of it being weekly, it is going to run on the last Tuesday of every month, starting from the end of February, and it will see the return of some of the Question Masters as they take adventurers from Faerûn through the Question Dungeon. Now moving over to Patreon, there are some changes coming to Patreon as well, but just before we get into those, the Golden Heart, which released at the beginning of December, will be released to the public on YouTube on the 1st of January, and this will be replaced with a brand new game, which is titled Welcome to Dead London, Episode 1, which is GM'd by myself and will feature Tom as a survivor of the zombie apocalypse. This is a little tester for potentially a new series that we might do on Patreon, but I'll get into something to do with that in a little bit. For the Dice Head tier, we will temporarily be removing the NPC creator reward. Don't worry though, we will be bringing it back in the future, but we just need to make some slight tweaks to it and let the NPCs that have already been created appear on stream. Now, for the first of our two big Patreon announcements, the first one is that we are going to be starting a new series that will release early on Patreon. This series is called Myth and Mythios and will be GM'd by myself, and will feature Tom and Nat as we explore a fantasy version of ancient Greece. Expect some of the myths that you may or may not know to be turned on their head. This series will release every 2 weeks, starting on Thursday the 16th of January, with a talk together being released exclusively on the Dice Head tier the week after every even-numbered episode. The standard episodes will also release to the public on YouTube a month after their release on Patreon. Finally, for Patreon, we will be introducing a brand new tier. This tier is currently titled Dice Legend and will grant the same bonuses as the D20 Club and the Dice Heads, but those who are a Dice Legend will be invited once a month to play in a one-shot that will be GM'd by myself. These one-shots won't be recorded, so you don't need to worry about that. All you'll need is either Zoom or Discord installed onto your preferred device, and a way to be able to speak to myself and the other players. No cameras needed whatsoever if you don't want them to be. We are currently looking at making some changes to the podcasts, although we haven't got anything 100% set in stone yet, but when we know what's happening, we will let you know. And finally, for those of you who have watched this entire video all of the way through, the Kobolds have a special little trailer for you, the Roll Together channel trailer for 2025. There we go. There's that for you. Again, thank you very much, everybody, for all of the help that you have given us over the course of this year. And here's to an amazing 2025. Cheers.